Hi guys, so today I would like to talk a little bit about morality again, but kind of in a different way than what I've done before, at least somewhat different, because the position that I'm seeing of a lot of atheists now is actually a position for objective morality, but it's just objective morality without God. Now I'll be honest, the first time I heard somebody make this argument, I was really like, I didn't even know what to think, because I'd never encountered this before, because to me, how could objective morality actually exist without God? Because of course the argument on the theist side is that the morality is based on God's nature. It's His own nature that sets the standard of morality. Because of course one of the old arguments was, is something good because God wills it, or does He will it because it's good? But of course, that's been debunked, because the argument that we make is that it's because God's very nature is good and it's unchanging. But I was watching this debate with between Shelly Kagan, I think it's Shelly Kagan, I believe, and William Lane Craig. And some of the things that Shelly Kagan said was, because the idea on the theist side is commands require a commander, laws require a lawgiver. Now, to me, that makes a lot of sense, but his argument was that doesn't, that doesn't have to be the case. That we can really just come to understand morality because, we don't want to be harmed, so why should we harm others? I've heard other atheists make similar arguments for that, but then why is it, why should it be evident that just because it hurts us, we shouldn't hurt others? Like, I don't feel like that's self-evident, and I don't think that really satisfies the argument, especially on a naturalistic or a materialistic worldview. Because someone like Shelly Kagan certainly can come to that conclusion that, you know what, I don't want to be hurt, I don't want someone to steal from me, lie to me, whatever, so I'm not going to do that to others. Sure. Somebody could come to that conclusion, to that realization, but I think on a naturalistic worldview, somebody could just as easily come to the opposite, just like, of course, like Stalin did, because why isn't it rational that if I can get everything I want every single time by hurting somebody, why not do that if there is no God? Yeah, I get the whole thing, like, we should be good to others because we want them to be good to us and this and that. But if there's no God, if there's no judgment, then I think anybody could just as easily come to the conclusion that, hey, if I can get away with it, why not? Why not do this? Because if there's no afterlife, if there's no ultimate judgment, hey, why not? So, that's kind of the issue I take with that, because on a theistic worldview, it answers for objective moral duties. It also answers for objective moral accountability and objective moral values. It answers for all three. Because, of course, you have the objective moral values, you have objective moral duties that, hey, I'm not doing to others, so I'll have them do it to me. And then you have objective moral accountability, which, of course, ties in with God, because it's like, even if I do get away with something, nobody sees me, the cops don't catch me, there is still going to be a final judgment. So I feel like overall that better explains morality than on a naturalistic worldview, making the assumption that, hey, just because this hurts me, I'm not going to hurt others. Yeah, that does make sense, sure. But at the same time, if I can get what I want every single time from somebody, and there's no God to stand in my way, there's no judgment, then why not? That's exactly what Stalin did, and he lived a long life, died, I think, at the age of 73 or 74, and never answered, at least not in this life, never answered for the crimes that he committed. So there's just some issues there with that. And so I think that on a theistic worldview, morality is far better explained than on a naturalistic worldview. Now, just a few more things here I want to say. On naturalism, the definition of naturalism is a philosophical viewpoint according to which everything arises from natural properties and causes, and supernatural or spiritual explanations are excluded or discounted. I feel like that's a little closed-minded, since I think one, even if they don't believe in God, I would think that they should at least allow for the possibility that there's a spiritual realm, that there's something that transcends the natural world. Now, the definition of materialism, which is very similar, is the doctrine that nothing exists except matter and its movements and modifications. So coming back to this, on a materialistic worldview, a naturalistic worldview, for me, I just don't see how you can really argue for objective morality. If everything is just matter in motion, I mean, how does that have any authority whatsoever to tell me what to do? I mean, sure, one could argue, well, you shouldn't do this to other people because it hurts you. Yeah, okay. But if there's no God and I can get what I want, then why should I care about that? If there's no ultimate authority, there's no ultimate judgment, there's nothing that transcends us, why should I do that? And in this debate, one of the other arguments that Shelly Kagan made, which on some level, I kind of got what he was saying, because his other argument was that just because something doesn't have cosmic meaning doesn't mean that it doesn't have meaning at all. Because one of the things that William Lane Craig said that, like what if eventually the universe is going to expand and everything's going to come to an end, then what you did 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, why should it matter at all? And Shelly Kagan countered that with, well, it matters right now, which I would agree, it does matter, but that's still a temporary thing. So it does have temporary meaning, but it doesn't have cosmic meaning. And so I feel like overall that it's better to have both. It's better to have temporary meaning and cosmic meaning. And, with that said, I just feel like theism better explains morality, and it better explains the purpose of life. Because if there is nothing beyond the natural world, then yeah, I mean, eventually everything's just going to be forgotten. The universe will eventually expand to where everything ends. And yeah, that's it. I mean, that's kind of depressing. So I feel like overall, if there's certainly more evidence for a theistic worldview, I feel like that better explains everything on a morality aspect, as well as the meaning of life, having purpose, along with everything else. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and conclude this video. And I do thank you guys for your time. And please feel free to subscribe and like. Thank you.